we're doing the same thing we did yesterday, where I try to wear exactly what you wear, but you wear it better. What are you and the guys talking about today?
No, not at all. We're just twinning. You know, great minds think alike, Jenna.
Twinning.
Good morning, guys.
I like it.
Coming up on Undisputed, are Shannon's Broncos a Super Bowl contender with Case Keenum? And will Kirk Cousins pick the Jets or the Vikings? Plus, Eric Dickerson, Greg Jennings, and Eddie House are in studio with us. Undisputed is coming up next. Jenna, back to you guys.
All right, Joy, thank you very much. Have a great show. NFL free agency doesn't start till tomorrow, but why wait till tomorrow when you could go to Denver today? At least that's what I always say, and that's apparently what Case Keenum is saying as well. The former Vikings quarterback will reportedly sign with the Broncos. So Keenum became the Vikings' darling, if you will, last season after he took him to the NFC title game. Threw for 22 touchdowns, 7 interceptions last season. Broncos could certainly use the shot in the arm after finishing 5-11 last year. CeCe, what's your reaction to Case Keenum going to Denver?
Well, it's fairly obvious that Denver, they put their sights on several guys, but they zeroed in on Case Keenum, and they got him signed. They got him signed before all the other quarterbacks get signed, so it lets you know that they must be happy with their choice compared to teams like the Vikings. I know it's rumored that Cousins might go to the Vikings, but what if the Vikings don't get him? Well, it seems like Denver, I mean, they got their guy. They're in the beginning. They were aggressive. Obviously, they like his aspects of playing quarterback, and they have missed on the last 3 guys after Peyton Manning. So, to me, having the confidence and saying, yes, this is the guy we want, compared to playing the field, I believe that's the best way to go about it. Falling in love with the guy, how he brings pluses to your organization and to your offense. I believe that is critical, and getting him at a price that you can afford. And I'm sure that they're excited getting him at the price that they got him at on a short deal. A 3-year deal for a quarterback is a short contract.
My guess is this is similar to the Mike Glennon deal. 3 years, more than 40, less than $50 million. Probably somewhere around 3 years, 46 million, 48 million, with probably about 20 million guaranteed, which for Case, by the way, is his first true payday in the NFL.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Undrafted, so he's playing for the minimum, bouncing around the league. The $2 million he made last year in Minnesota, I believe, is the second most money he's ever made in this league. So now all of a sudden, Case has true financial stability. And what the Broncos have is, no matter what you think of Case, they will have the best quarterback they've had in 4 years. So I am including Peyton's last year in Denver.
Oh, absolutely.
Peyton's last year in Denver when he was bad and Brock Osweiler played part of the year, and then the Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian, Brock Osweiler kind of carousel the last 2 years. So they have an upgrade there in Denver, no question about it. What's up, Jenna?
Well, so you're just assuming that, you know me, I'm a big Case Keenum person, but you're just assuming we're going to see the Case Keenum that we saw last year. A guy who, as we learned from CeCe, fits into a really good system in a comfortable place to play that was all set up for him to succeed.
I don't think you have to see the Case Keenum from last year for it to be better than what Denver has had the last 3 years. I think it could be the case. Keep in mind who is it's a weird title, like football consultant advisor for the Denver Broncos.
Gary Kubiak.
Gary Kubiak. Gary Kubiak's was the coach of Houston when Case came into the league. Case had some success in Houston for about a half season after Houston dealt with some injuries. If you see
Kubiak
that Case
being a backup to John Elway and a trusted friend, also the former coach. Yes, absolutely. I could see that. That's good little insight there.
So, but I want to talk about what this means for the Vikings, though, because this tells me 2 things. One, that Denver got the word from somebody that Kirk Cousins is not taking their version of a discount, because they tapped out of the Kirk Cousins sweepstakes early.
Yes.
They evidently decided whatever the Jets are offering, we're not going to be able to match that. Okay, so we know that. So I don't know if Denver was offering less than what Minnesota plans to offer, but the odds of Kirk Cousins taking a discount to play for a contender, Denver obviously thought those odds were low. Now, let's also talk, so the Vikings, yeah, maybe they get Kirk Cousins. But if they don't, if he goes to the highest bidder, which will be the Jets, now you're the Vikings, a team with this great defense, these 2 great wide receivers, really good running back coming back, really good head coach. And what are you doing at quarterback? Oh, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be your quarterback. Man, I root for Teddy, and I hope he's your quarterback. But you cannot be fully confident in his ability to play 16 games. We know you're not confident in Bradford's ability to play 16 games. Like, the Vikings could go from having 3 quality quarterbacks on their roster to having, you know, to use a Spades line, like one in a possible, one in a maybe, like so that is something to watch with Minnesota, which now I think has to, if they miss on Cousins, zero in fully on Teddy Bridgewater.
And that's assuming that Bridgewater and Bradford are going to stay there because they're not locked into Minnesota either.
Well, I don't think Bradford will. I think someone will try to make Bradford a starter somewhere.
Well, if all these other quarterbacks are gone, Sam Bradford's definitely going to look at coming back to Minnesota. I mean, he had great success there, and his options would be limited because the other quarterbacks have gone to other places. I guarantee you what he's not doing. Sam Bradford is not doing the leg workout that James Harrison was doing on the segments we had before. The Vikings are in a very interesting situation. They went into this as the strongest quarterback position because they had three guys right in their arms width that they can reach out and touch, in Sam, in Case, and Teddy. And they like Teddy. And yesterday they reached out to Drew Brees. So everything was surrounding the Vikings. Man, by the end of tomorrow,
I know,
the Vikings could be scrambling. They could be in the same or worse quarterback situation than they've been in the last couple years.
Before we move on quickly, if you had to guess right now, who do the Vikings end up with? Do you think they get Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
You do?
Oh, you do think they get Kirk?
I think there's more information. Just because free agency open, that don't mean the conversations just got started.
Well, if they end up with Kirk Cousins, they will have upgraded at quarterback. Even if you don't love Kirk Cousins, I believe he's an upgrade. If they don't end up with Kirk Cousins, they could be very thin as Sam Bradford's ankles at quarterback. So, like, and Denver, by the way, one note on Denver. They have not had back-to-back losing seasons since the 1970s. This is one of the most consistent organizations in sports. They don't want to go 5-11.
And this is not often I get a chance to correct you. Sam Bradford, it's not. It's actually his quad. It's really skinny. It's the skinny ankles that's on Hubbard.
Oh, okay, that's right. Hubbs, who works with us. Yeah. Correct. I apologize. I get those guys confused all the time.
Do you want to talk about core strength?
No, not at all, Jenna.
Okay.
You want to talk about the NFC West.
Engage in the teleprompter.
Well, let's move on to the NFC West. Former Seattle Seahawk Richard Sherman signed with the 49ers over the weekend. One of the reasons he gave for doing so was to have the opportunity to play his old team twice a year. Who are you calling old? Second reason was quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, who Sherman said was a huge part of the reason he wanted to play with San Francisco. Nick, are you buying all the hype surrounding Jimmy Garoppolo, or is there a part of it that stems from him having played under Brady and all of that aura just sort of travels with Jimmy G?
Well, what we have with Jimmy Garoppolo, I believe, is what you would call, I guess, in like criminal court, like circumstantial evidence. But it's pretty strong circumstantial evidence. Who drafted you? Bill Belichick. How did you do with the Patriots? Well, when Brady was suspended for that it was less than 2 games because he didn't get hurt.
Yes.
How'd you do? Well, you played really well in those 2 games.
For 7 quarters.
For 7, again, like I said, very small pieces, but strong pieces. All right, what did the league as a whole think of you? Well, evidently, Cleveland reportedly, allegedly, wanted to pay at least 1 first-round pick for you. The Patriots wanted to keep you. The Patriots wanted to hold on to you. They traded you at the last possible moment. You go to a team that is coached by a guy in Kyle Shanahan who not knows quarterbacks, but it is also talked about ad nauseum. Takes at least a year to learn his system. You're there 3 weeks. You start starting because of an injury. You go 5-0 on a team that was dead in the water. All of those are pieces of evidence that this guy's a star. Now, it's not enough evidence for me to believe it yet. Do I think Jimmy Garoppolo right now is going to be a top 5 quarterback in football next year? No. Could he be a top 10 quarterback? Possibly. Did he give the Niners hope, though? And did he make the Niners an attractive free agent destination? You bet yourself he did.
Some of that circumstantial evidence, that's what you call it, right? Circumstantial evidence happened to occur against Seattle. One of those games, Jimmy Garoppolo, it was against Seattle Seahawks. Jimmy Garoppolo, I believe, is going to be a good quarterback. But for Richard Sherman, man, this is all a part of it. To make a guy great in the locker room, you got to be able to give him confidence. You don't think that great defense in Seattle didn't give Russell Wilson, through competition, antagonize him? People used to think that Richard Sherman and Russell Wilson were in opposition against each other. But that was about the psyche and how they did business in Seattle. That helped Russell Wilson. This will help Jimmy Garoppolo. It will also help him to know, man, he did this with nobodies out there. I mean, they had no receivers.
Nope.
Marquise Goodwin, they just signed him to a contract extension. I mean, dude is 5'0". A small little guy. The best year of his career through tremendous adversity off the field, success, it was because of Jimmy G. You talking about a team dead in the water. Man, this was a bad offensive football team. And what he did to them, it showed, yes, he is a leader. He can take over a bad team. He didn't need to play around great talent or better talent that he had in New England. So I believe that part right there, that won a lot of people over. He's going to be a good quarterback in this league.
And with free agency opening up, and you know the quarterback's got 5 years left on his deal. The coach, the GM, both have 5 years left on their deal, and they got a bunch of cap space. What they need is offensive talent. They need wide receivers. Carlos Hyde's a free agent. They need a tight end. Like, all of a sudden, San Francisco, because of this newfound stability there, and it's a pretty cool place to live, like that could be a attractive free agent destination for other free agents, not just Richard Sherman.
Big week. We're going to find out where a lot of people end up.
Tomorrow's a fun day.
Week. All right, that's it for us. We're back here tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern. Stay right here. Undisputed starts right now. If you're in New York, go play in the snow. Woo!